Hello everyone. This video basically talks about chapter 7. And in chapter 7 we have two classes, two packages. And for the first package we're introducing three forms of arbitrage as indicated by the title of chapter 7, which is international arbitrage and interest rate parity. So this video, I will introduce the because I want to limit the length of the video. So the first video of chapter 7 will introduce the first two arbitrage. The first one is locational arbitrage, which is the arbitrage between two locations. And the second one is a triangular arbitrage, which is not only the arbitrage occurs not only within two different locations, but also involves cross exchange rate. So before we talk about those types of arbitrage, I will just introduce the concept of arbitrage. International arbitrage, basically, there's a difference between prices of those foreign currencies. And then arbitrager will capitalize the difference between those foreign currency prices. And the difference between the price, we call it a discrepancy. We just give it a fancy name. So this is if we trade the foreign currency as groceries, it makes the whole arbitrage concept easier to understand. If there are two grocery stores near your home, and both stores sell apples, and the apple from the same brand, the same farm, and basically you taste it, and all apples taste exactly the same. But the price of those apples are different. Store A, the apple's price is 1.99 per pound. It's more expensive, and the store B, the apple's price is 1.59 per pound. So in this case, if the apple has exactly the same taste and quality as a rational consumer, what you will do is you will buy it from store B because the price is cheaper. And the price difference between those two locations, two grocery stores, this is called the price discrepancy. And as more customer goes to store B, because we are all smart consumers, we go to the store with cheaper price. And if the store are basically very close to your home, you will just go to store B. And the last customer go to store A. In this case, store A will have a lot of Apple inventory. It's hard to sell it. So in this case, manager of store A will reduce the Apple price. By the meantime, the manager of store B will increase the Apple price. The reason is that the inventory goes really fast. So they notice this phenomenon, and they know that the Apple is underpriced compared to another store. So that's the reason why a store B manager think higher price will bring more profit for the store. So the Apple price of those two stores will finally be the same. They will probably be 1.89 per pound or 1.79 per pound. And once the Apple price of those two stores becomes the same, we call it the Apple price of those two stores realign. This is also a very fancy name given in the finance world. So this is that the store you can only buy apples from the store. This is the case that if we trade those are not two grocery stores, those are two markets, and you can freely buy and sell in each store or in each market. And of course, the store can make money just like the bank, they will buy at a lower price, which is a bid price, and sell at a higher price. Store A will sell Apple at a price 1.99. That is so-called asked quote or ask price, because store A sell at this higher price, and they will buy Apple at a lower price, 1.89. Store B sell Apple at a price 1.95, which is much cheaper than 1.99, and they will buy at 1.49. So basically, both market will buy at a lower price and sell at a higher price. They can make profit by just buy at a make a profit from this bid-ask spread. The apples are from the same farm again. They have exactly the same taste. So how could you profit from this market? You can buy apples from store B at the ask quote, because the store sell at this price, which means you can buy at this price, and sell Apple at store A at the bid price, which is your sell price but the store's buy price. And the profit of each pound of Apple will be the bid quote minus the ask quote of store B, equals $2.3 per pound. So more customer go to store B to buy Apple, and more customer go to store A to sell Apple. Manager of store A, again, they will find that they have more and more Apple inventory, and it was there. They have to deal with it. They have to reduce the Apple price, and the manager B will increase the Apple price. Again, finally, the Apple price of those two stores will be the same. We call this the price of two stores will realign. The conclusion is that arbitrage basically costs nothing. You buy from the store B, which is the market with a lower price, and sell it at a store A, which is the market has a higher price. So basically, you didn't have any cost. This is called arbitrage. So the conclusion is arbitrage, you can make a profit without any risk from this arbitrage transaction, and finally those transactions will cause the price to realign. Again, we have three forms of arbitrage. The first one is called locational arbitrage. This is exactly what we talked in the grocery store. That is a locational arbitrage. And then because foreign currency, we have direct quotation and cross exchange rate. So we also have the triangular arbitrage. And finally, cover the interest arbitrage. This is the most complicated arbitrage. So for the first two, there's no time lag. You can buy foreign currency from one bank and immediately receive the currency and immediately sell it at another bank. There's no time lag. For triangular arbitrage, it's the same thing, but for cover the interest arbitrage, there's a time lag. You have to deposit your foreign currency into a bank for a period of time, like 3 months, 6 months. We will talk about that later. So locational arbitrage, the process of buying a currency at a location where the price is cheaper and immediately sell it at another location where the price is higher. So without this time lag, you can make a profit without expose yourself into this exchange rate fluctuation risk. So because you know there's two banks, the foreign currency price are different, and you can do the arbitrage without put a lot of money in and without holding those foreign currencies. So basically, the gain is based on the amount of money you used. The more money you have, the more profit you will have. The size of the discrepancy, what's the difference between those two prices. And finally, realignment due to locational arbitrage drives the price to adjust in different locations so as to eliminate the discrepancies. So finally, the price should be close to each other, sometimes even the same with each other. So here is an example. So North Bank, the quote, this is a New Zealand dollar. It has bid price and ask price. South Bank, it has a bid price and ask price. So you will find that the bid price, so the bid price here is higher than the ask price of the North Bank. So the bid price of South Bank is higher than the ask price of North Bank. This is a condition that you can conduct the locational arbitrage. And then basically what you will do is you will buy the New Zealand dollar at the bank with lower price, which is North Bank. So you buy New Zealand dollar using US dollar, of course, and then you immediately sell it at the bank with a higher price. So remember, when you buy the New Zealand dollar, you use the ask rate, because you buy, which means the bank will sell. They will sell at a higher price, which is the ask quote. So the ask quote is $0.64. Then take the New Zealand dollar and sell it to the South Bank in exchange for US dollar. Remember, when you sell it, which means the bank will buy, they will buy at the lower price, which is the bid price. So your profit is that if you have $1,000 and you convert the US dollar to New Zealand dollar at North Bank, which is divide. So you have $1,000, and each dollar, each New Zealand dollar equals to 0.64 US dollar. Then you have 1,000 US dollar in total. You will have 1,562.5 New Zealand dollar. And then convert New Zealand dollar to US dollar and the South Bank. So we use the bid price of the South Bank. So we use this amount of New Zealand dollar times the direct quotation. So basically, this is your ending balance. So by just those two transactions, and you will have, you invest in $1,000 and you will receive $1,007.8 US dollars. Your return, your dollar profit will be 7.8 US dollar, and the percentage return is 0.78%. So here, what I want to emphasize is that if we look at here, why we divided this? Here is divide. So basically what we will say is here, this ask rate. This ask rate is 1 New Zealand dollar equals to 0.640 US dollar. And then if you have 1 US dollar, so 1 US dollar should equals to 1 over 0.04 New Zealand dollar. This is what? This is the indirect quotation. So basically it's 1 US dollar equals to 1 over 0.64 New Zealand dollar. Then if you have 1,000 US dollar, how much you will have? If we convert this $1,000 into New Zealand dollar, it will be 1,000 divided 0.64 New Zealand dollar. So that's the reason why here it's divided instead of multiply. So that is locational arbitrage. It's quite simple, and we take one step forward and introduce this so-called triangular arbitrage. So we know for the cross exchange rate, here the cross exchange rate, basically it's the exchange rate between two non-US currency. In this case, if we have direct quotation of those two non-US currency and the cross exchange rate, then we have three quotations. And then we can find out the arbitrage opportunity with those data. So assume that the bank has quoted the British pound $1.6 and MRY, which is the currency of Malaysia, it's $0.2. Those two are direct quotation. Those two are both direct quotation. And of course, those two are non-US dollar currency, British pound and MYR. So in this case, they have cross exchange rate, which is here. 1 British pound equals to $8.1 MYR. Our first test is to determine is there any currency undervalued or overvalued in the market. So from the two direct quotation, we found that 1 British pound equals to 1.8 MYR. So it's equals to, remember, that is what we learned, the cross exchange rate. So the currency A, rule of thumb, currency A value in currencies B equals to the direct quotation of A divided by direct quotation of B. And then the direct quotation of British pound is $1.6. Direct quotation of MYR is $0.2. So we found 1 British pound equals to 8 MYR. This is the so-called implied cross exchange rate. And here, this is the market exchange rate. Market cross. Then we know that we can trade on this market cross exchange rate, but it's really hard to trade on this implied one because this is what we get from direct quotation. And we compare this implied cross exchange rate with this market cross exchange rate. We found that compared to the market exchange rate, cross exchange rate, compared to the implied cross exchange rate, the market exchange rate is the British pound is overpriced. The market exchange rate, the market cross exchange rate of British pound is overpriced because it's higher. So according to the implied cross exchange rate, 1 British pound can exchange for 8 MYR. However, the market prices it in a higher way. So 1 British pound in the market can exchange for 8.1 MYR. So in this case, the British pound is overpriced in the market. Then we will convert the US dollar to the overpriced currency first. So we convert the US dollar to British pound. We have 10,000 US dollar, and each British pound equals to 1.6 US dollar. So we will find we can use this 10,000 US dollar exchange for 6,250 British pound. Then we convert British pound to MYR, which is underpriced currency. So in this case, the first step, we keep buy British pound will make British pound direct quotation increase because we keep buying British pound, right? Remember the demand and supply schedule? This will push value of British pound increase. And then we convert British pound to MYR. And for MYR, each British pound can exchange for $8.1 MYR. So in total, we can have 50,625 MYR. And then finally, we convert it back to US dollar. Use the direct quotation. So we found out that our ending balance for this arbitrage is 10,125. So the dollar profit is $125. The return is 1.25%. So if we account for the bid-ask spread, remember for the locational arbitrage, we carefully think about we should buy at the ask price and sell at the bid price. And here we have the same thing. So we need to think about whether we should use the bid price or ask price. So this is basically the same thing, the same problem, but instead of we only give you one price, we give you bid price and ask price both. And the procedure is exactly the same. Use two direct quotation to determine which currency is overpriced. And if we use the bid price, we find out the bid price, 1 British pound, the implied cross exchange rate for 1 British pound is 8 MYR. For the ask rate, if we use ask rate, 1 British pound, it should equals to 8.01 MYR. Those are implied cross exchange rate. Then we will need to compare it with this market price cross exchange rate. So here, those are market cross exchange rate. And then we find that compared to the implied cross exchange rate, the British pound is overpriced in the market. Because the implied cross exchange rate implies that for bid price, 1 British pound should equal to 8 MYR. But in the market, 1 British pound can trade 8.1 MYR. So British pound is overpriced. The same happened to the ask price. And then we convert the US dollar to the overpriced currency, which is British pound. So we buy British pound. This is we buy British pound. And because we buy British pound, which means the bank sell British pound, they will sell at a higher price. So we use the ask price. We will find we get 6,211 US British pound. Then convert the overpriced currency to the underpriced currency. So which means we sell British pound and exchange for MYR. And here you should understand what's the meaning of the cross exchange rate. So the meaning of the bid price here is if the bank will buy, bank will buy British pound at the price of 8.1 MYR. So here again, it's a little bit confusing, but you should understand that what's the meaning of this what's the meaning of this cross exchange rate. So here, this bid price is that the bank will buy British pound with 8.1 MYR. And the ask price is that the bank sells British pound in exchange for 8.2 MYR. So basically here, we basically need to sell British pound. We need to sell British pound. And this means banks will buy. And then we use the bid price. So we use the bid price of the cross exchange rate, and we have this amount of British pound. So in total, if we exchange it, we sell it and exchange for MYR, in total we have 50,310 MYR. And finally, we convert this MYR into US dollar. And because for US dollar here, we sell MYR, which means the bank will buy, and we use the bid price because bid price is the bank's buy price. So in total, we have our ending balance is 10,062 US dollar. Our dollar profit is reduced. Remember, without the bid-ask spread, it's 125. So without bid-ask spread, our profit is 125, and now it's 62.11, and the return is also reduced from 1.25% to 0.6%. So again, finally, the first step the second step, like this, because we keep buy British pound, the British pound price will increase. And then here we keep selling British pound in the crop against the US dollar. And the third step, because we keep selling British pound in exchange for MYR. In this case, British pound price will decrease against MYR. And finally, we sell MYR here. So the result is MYR price will decrease against US dollar. So finally, this will realign the cross exchange rate and the direct quotation. So two type of quotation will be realigned. So I think I will stop here for this video, and thank you for watching, and hopefully see you in next video.